I come out of the bathroom, I tackle him, our liaison partners and our security guys bust in from the side room, I have him pinned down, and he's like, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Our liaison partners give him a shot of Demerol, and it knocks him out. People die in hotels every single day. So we put him on a gurney, we covered him up like a dead body, we took him out the back and put him in the ambulance. And when he came to, he was tied to a chair. So I said, now it's my turn. You know, out of all the things that I ever did at the agency, I think this is the one thing that I'm the most proud of. It wasn't the Abu Zubaydah operation. Although I was proud of Abu Zubaydah, I'm ashamed for our country as to what ended up happening after Abu Zubaydah, and we'll get into that in detail.
Yeah.
But the second assassination attempt, I was so proud of myself. Because by then, I was a seasoned case officer. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I was good at it.
How many years had you been working as a case officer at this time?
By then, 3 years. Doing high-risk stuff. Like, I didn't become a case officer and then go to London or Rome, right? I went into the mouth of the beast with 17 November. So I get a cable from a buddy of mine who's the chief of a station in the Middle East. And he said, buddy, he goes, I got a case we're working on here. It's a double agent. And it's just too dangerous for me or for any of my people to handle. We need somebody who doesn't live here. You think you'd like to do it? I said, heck yeah. I was divorced. I had nothing to lose. Could use the overtime, you know? Was looking to buy a house. Why not? So I fly out there. And all these guys are my friends, right? We were all in training together or in Arabic together or whatever. We're all friends. So, in fact, this is the guy that introduced me to my second wife. Yeah. So I go, so what gives? And he says, well, we recruited this guy and he works for an American defense contractor as an engineer. But he doesn't know that we know that he's actually a double agent for one of our greatest enemies in the world. I think they wouldn't let me say the country in the book. One of our most serious enemies in the world. So he thinks he's working for us, but we know that the bad guys have tasked him with identifying the station chief for an assassination. So he said, can you pretend to be me? I said, sure. I said, we're gonna have to be really serious about security, but yeah, I can do this. So he said, remember, the guy has no idea that we know that he's a double. I had never worked a double agent case before. I had only learned about double agent cases in training. Like, oh, this is very rare, but in case this happens, here's what you do, and all that. So he triggers a meeting, or the original handler triggers the meeting, and the guy comes, and I said, hi, my name's Nick. You wanted to meet the chief? You met him. Hi, nice to meet you, Nick. Am I going to be dealing with you from now on? I said, yes. We believe that you're important enough that I'll handle you directly. And he's like, okay, that's what I wanted. And I said, okay, well, in this introductory meeting, let's just go over the basic stuff. We'll go over security and surveillance detection, and a communications strategy. So I had what he didn't know was at the time called a tri-band cell phone. Cell phones were still very new. And this tri-band cell phone, it was a local number in that country, but it would ring no matter where I was in the world. Revolutionary idea at the time. You didn't have to put in 20 digits. It was just a local number. So he thought that I was there all the time. In fact, I'm in Washington, but if he needed me, the phone would ring. So I said, here's my number, so you have my direct number. Call me if you need anything, if you need to meet, you need to trigger a meeting, we'll come up with a plan. In the meantime, let's do this on such and such a date at such and such a hotel. And what I want you to do is plan out your surveillance detection routes. Make sure that they're very sophisticated. And I want you to go rent a post office box. So in the event of an emergency where we can't reach each other by phone, you can send a message to the post office box. I'll go retrieve it and I'll know where the next meeting should be held. Okay, so we shake hands. He shakes hands with the outgoing guy. Great, now he's dealing with the station chief. Instead of doing a surveillance detection route, he drove directly to the enemy embassy. Directly. Now, if he had done a surveillance detection route, he may have seen that we had 4 cars with 8 officers on him. Never noticed a thing. Then they reported back to their capital, he's in with the chief. He did it. He's in with the chief. So we're able to track their communications. So I go back out a month later. He rented the post office box. Then I go back out a month after that, and he did this thing for me, and he did that thing for me, and we're establishing a rapport. So I do this for like 6 or 8 months. And then I get a call from my buddy who's the actual chief. And he said, listen, we're going to have to kill this operation. I said, what? Why? It's going well. He said, no. They just gave him orders to kill you in the next meeting. I said, come on, man. I said, he's afraid of his own shadow. He's not gonna kill me. And he said, we have to kill the operation. And I said, no rash decisions. Let's do a conference call. So I got all the headquarters muckety mucks together and the station guys. And I said, listen, let's do the next meeting at the Marriott, because every Marriott everywhere in the world is exactly the same. You come in the door and the bathroom is right there on your right. So we get 2 adjoining rooms that are connected by a door. I'll be in the bathroom, and when he knocks on the door, I'll say, come in. I'll have it propped open with the lock, the secure lock, you know how they do. He comes in, I grab him, you guys and Liaison come in from the other room, and we get him. They're like, it's risky. I said, come on, guys, what do we do for a living here? This guy's a bona fide terrorist. He's ordered to kill me. Then he's going to kill you, and he's going to kill you next, and he's going to kill you after that. We going to stop these guys or not? Okay, let's do it. So I get to the hotel, and I'm waiting. And I got to the hotel hours early, which was the plan. And we've got our guys in the lobby. And one of them calls me from the lobby, and he said, bad news. He goes, the bad guys are here in the lobby, and they've got at least 3 teams. I said, shit, I didn't expect that. The idea being, if he chickens out and doesn't shoot me, they're going to shoot me as I'm trying to escape. It's like, doggone it, we didn't consider that. We didn't think they'd have the guts to do it. We just thought that they wanted a degree of separation. I said, okay, so we can't use the front door, so we have to use the back door. And they're like, okay, he's coming in right now. And just as he's coming in, he calls me. And I never would tell him directly what room we're in. I would say, come up to the 4th floor or come up to the 5th floor. And then he would come up to the 5th floor and I'd say, I'm in room 211 or 815. Meet me in 5 minutes. And then I would take the elevator and he would take the stairs. So that way he didn't drag surveillance with him and then they try to kill me. So he calls me. He said, I'm here. I said, come up to the 8th floor. It was the top floor. Come up to the 8th floor. And he goes, okay. So he comes up to the 8th floor and I go, walk with me over to the stairs. So we walk over to the stairs and we go into the stairwell. And I said, let's go up to the roof. He's like, what? I said, let's go up to the roof. He goes, I don't think I want to go up to the roof. I said, yeah, come on, let's go. He said, I'm uncomfortable going up to the roof. And I said, why? You think I'm going to throw you off the roof? Come on, let's go. We'll talk up there. It's a nice day. He goes, I don't want to go to the roof. I said, get up on the fucking roof. He said, you're scaring me. I said, and you're pissing me off. Get up on the roof. I don't think I like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I go, what's your problem? I thought we're friends. You told me last time you were my brother. What do you think I'm going to do to you up there? I don't want to go up there. I go, get up on the roof. So one step at a time, he gets up to the roof. I said, now stay here for 5 minutes and meet me in room 515. And I said, you worry me sometimes. So I go back down. 5 minutes later, he knocks on 515. I said, come in. He comes in. I come out of the bathroom. I tackle him. Our liaison partners and our security guys bust in from the side room. I have him pinned down. And he's like, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And he says, I'll fucking kill you. And I said, motherfucker. I said, do you think I'm so stupid that I didn't know you came here to kill me tonight? Do you think I'm so unprofessional that I don't know that you're a double agent? I said, you're the stupid one. You're the stupid one because your life is over now. Over. Allahu Akbar, he kept saying. I said, yeah, keep telling yourself that. See how far that gets you. But remember, the bad guys are in the lobby and they're looking at their watches. Like, where is he? We haven't heard anything. So the plan we had come up with was our liaison partners give him a shot of Demerol, and it knocks him out. Well, the truth is, people die in hotels every single day. So we put him on a gurney, we covered him up like a dead body, we took him out the back and put him in the ambulance. And we drove in an ambulance from the back door, the cargo, whatever, the garbage door, to their intelligence service headquarters. And when he came to, he was tied to a chair. So I said, now it's my turn, you fucking idiot. I said, your life is over. So now I'm going to ask you a question that's going to determine how the rest of your life is going to be spent. We know who you are. We know who you work for. And we know that you're in charge of the arms cache. So I want to know, where are the weapons? He's like, fuck you, I will never tell you, motherfucker. It's like, that's the wrong answer. He would never tell us. So we all huddled. They put him in a cell, and we all huddled together. And I said, listen, I have an idea. We know where he lives, and we know that he has a safe in the hotel. He had referenced the safe a couple times. I said, I wonder if the arms are in the safe. And they were like, okay, but how do we get into the hotel, get into the house? I said, let's just break in. And they were like, no, can't do it. He's got a live-in Filipino maid. Can't do it. And I said, okay, let's declare an emergency, a gas leak. We'll say there's a gas leak, and then we'll evacuate the neighborhood. He lived in a cul-de-sac, so there were like 8 houses. And they're like, no, can't do it. We don't have underground gas lines here. We use propane. I said, oh my God. Okay, get a freaking 18-wheeler of propane. We'll spill the propane on the street, and then we'll declare an emergency. They're like, that we could do. So this 18-wheeler comes to the house. We're all at the house by then. There's this giant wheel, and I go like this with the giant wheel, and I spill all this propane on the ground. And then we call 115, which is their version of 911. And we said, oh, there's a big propane spill. We need the fire department. So the fire department comes, and they evacuate all the houses. And then we break into his house. And the safe is like this big. That was it. Like, it's not big enough for anything. Like, the safe in my bedroom's bigger than this. This is more like a strongbox than a safe. So we had the locks and picks guy, and he cracks it. And all it has in it is a slip of paper. It was a map, like a kid's map. And it had an X. He had written this X on the map. And I go, what are the chances that this is the weapons cache? And they were like, well, this is all we have. So let's go for it. So we all got in these Jeeps, and we followed the map to a town that was about an hour south. And then past the town, we went out into the desert. And we're following the map, 100 paces and 50 paces and 30 paces. And there is an abandoned bunker with all the weapons. And it wasn't just weapons. It was mines and grenades and rocket launchers. And that group no longer exists. We put the entire group out of business that night. Yeah. And then years later, I ran into the chief. And I go, whatever happened to that guy? And he said, oh, dude, he says, life without parole means life without parole.